Hey guys, MotorCarNut here, and today we're going to be replacing the lower intake manifold. There's two of them. There's a plenum on the top and a lower intake manifold on a 3.8, 2007 to 2011, 3.8 on the Wrangler and the Caravan. Any of the Chrysler products that have the 3.8, this is going to apply to you, okay? The top piece over here, some people get confused and think that this is the intake manifold. It's not. It's just a plenum. And the intake manifold is aluminum. It's on the bottom. That's what connects to the heads. All right? So if yours is leaking or you got a vacuum leak or something from there or whatever your reason is to take it off, this video is going to help you. All right? So what we're going to do right now, you disconnect the negative battery terminal. All right, you disconnect it and make sure you put something under there so it doesn't touch and spark. That's the first thing you do. Now, I'm going to take certain things off. If you want to take less or more, that's up to you, but I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, over here you have a clamp, screw clamp. You take this hose off. I already did. Over here, for the air sensor, there's a little slide, a little lock like that. You slide it up, and then there's little prongs in there, and you push it up. Just like so many other connectors you see. And then you take the screws out, and then you take this out, all right? And while you're at it, the air cleaner has a hose right here. It goes to the breather over there. You can take this out from the air cleaner. From the air cleaner to the valve cover. So you got these two rubber hoses. You inspect them, make sure they're not cracked, all right? And it's a good time to replace them if they are. Then we're gonna take off, over here, this is a PCV breather. You just take it off from here and on the other side. And over here is another vacuum line. You just take that off. And this one we're going to take off too. The pipe, we're just going to bend it up out of the way. We're not going to disconnect it down there. All right, and this pipe on mine, it's like solid rock. You got to replace it. That's not good because when you screw it, it's going to crack. It's time to replace this thing is solid rock. All right. And then the electrical connector, right here, you squeeze both tabs on the bottom, you slide that out. And over here we have, let me see what that socket is. It's an E10, it's like an inverted star Torx, like that, female. Okay, use that to get the throttle body off. All right, now while you got that out, it's a good idea to clean this throttle body. I have videos on how to clean it. With a toothbrush or whatever, get it nice and clean. All right. Next step we're going to do is we're going to come around this way and take off that big breather hose that's right here, this one. I'm going to take the screw clamp, take that off. Mark your spark plugs, okay? Well, they're marked on the coil, but mark them on the plugs, spark plug wires themselves, so you know where they go. And take off these two 10mm, one there and one there. Take the plug right there. It's going to have a little red safety. You slide it up and then just take the connector off. Take this off. Okay, what else we're going to do? We're going to have to take this bracket off. Okay, this looks like a 13 or 14 here and there. Take this bracket off. I'm going to do that, then we'll come back. Okay, so now this bracket has to come out. So I was going to take this off. This is 13, get a deep socket, 13. And leave the valve cover right here, 13 and 13. And take that bracket off, all right? And then up here, take those two 10mm. We're going to pry this up, but we're not going to pry it right now. All right, and over here is the same thing. You have a red clip, red safety clip. You just pop it out and then push down the prong. That's on the map sensor over there. All right, and then it's a good idea to replace. There's going to be a gasket, an O-ring gasket in here. It's a good idea to replace that. So after that, when we took this plate off. All right, those are 13mm. That top thing is not 10mm. The top EGR over there, that pipe, it's 8mm. These are 8mm. And then over here, it looks like 10. Okay. For this pipe over here, right here, there's a 10mm there. And then, I believe all the 10mm around the plenum. I think there's 8 of them. See right here? 1, 2, and it goes around. And then we're just gonna slide the plastic plenum off. All right, here's that O-ring I'm talking about. That goes right here. Now, once you get the 8 bolts, you can slide it, and there's gonna be a little vacuum hose right here. Just take that off, and the plenum is just gonna slide right out. That's what I'll do now. All right, so now we're at this point right now. We're gonna drain the coolant, and I would drain the oil, because when you take off the intake manifold, some oil can get mixed with the water, and you don't wanna, that's not good. So you drain the oil, all right, and drain the coolant. And after we do that, we're gonna take off the upper radiator hose here, all right? And over here, there's gonna be a little special tool. I'll show you what to do in there to get it out. That's the fuel line. Make sure that the engine's cold. All right, you put a rag over there. It's not gonna be that much fuel. And I'll show you how to take that off. And let me see. The injectors and everything, all the wiring harness, I believe there's one big harness that connects. You unconnect the whole thing. It all depends how you wanna do it. So let me, I'm gonna drain the coolant and the engine oil, take off this upper radiator hose, and continue. Also, just wanted to tell you that when you have the intake manifold off, it's always a good idea to check for any cracks anywhere, anywhere around where there could be a vacuum leak, maybe a hairline crack somewhere, especially if yours is old, because this is plastic, they distort. Make sure that this base, this deck over here is level on both sides. Just make sure it's level and not distorted. And it's a good idea, like I said, to check that. Of course, you're going to replace these. The intake manifold and the plenum gasket, I use Felpro. You can use factory. Felpro is a very good brand. There's the model number right there. All right. This is a good quality product. I don't sponsor them, so I don't sponsor nobody. But just I use their product. It's good. All right. All right, so when you're doing the oil, the drain plug is a 16mm on my truck. So you drain the oil, then put the nut back on, the drain plug back on. My oil is brand new, so I'm saving it. If you're going to change your oil, that's a good time to change the filter too. And the petcock for the radiator is all the way in the bottom, and there's a plastic shield there, and it's kind of a pain in the neck to get to. So what I'm going to do is the lower radiator hose, which is in the middle over here, I'm going to take the clamp off of that and drain it from there. That should be low enough, so when I take the intake off, it should be below the intake manifold. It is, actually. So I'm going to do it that way, and this way I can just put that hose back on. If you want to, take that plastic, there's like a plastic piece like this, but it's on the bottom, and it's right in the way of the petcock. Petcock is on the passenger side in the bottom, so I'm not going to play around with that because there's really no need. So that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so now to get this fuel line off, it's just this little clip right here. That's just a safety clip just in case this decided to break loose. It just snaps on that way. Just get a screwdriver and just pop this off. All right, and over here, we're going to need a little tool. Let me show you what it looks like. Mine is broken, but it's supposed to, see how this is a smaller one, but it's broken. It's supposed to look like this. All right, let me give you an idea. All right, so you put it on, right? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna push this forward and then push this on all the way up and then just push it. Because in the back over here, there's little prongs. All right, so with that, what the tool does is it opens them up so it slides. There's like a little ring there and it slides. And when I pull it off, I'll show you. Okay, this is the wrong one. Like I just said, the other one's broken, but I can still use it and hold it with 2 hands to get it off. Okay, you see what I'm saying? There's a little lip here, and in here, there's little metal forks that when it clips in, it doesn't allow it to go back. they're like this. And you need something to open it up, and that's where this comes in, the tool like this. It opens them up and makes it slide over. Hopefully that makes sense to you if this is the first time doing it. If it's not, you guys are probably familiar with these type of lines. Okay, so after this, what we're gonna do is, you see that big plug right here? Not the top one, the bottom one. That big plug harness is, we're gonna disconnect it there and take off the injector plugs. These things, you just lift these up with a screwdriver. You lift it up, and then you push the little tab, and you take them off. You do that all of them, and we're gonna, I'm sorry about that. And we're gonna make the harness come this way. And when you're getting the big harness out over here, you see this? You just push this down, and then you push this up. This whole little black thing, you push it down, and you push this up, and the whole thing slides out right here. And then we just move everything over to the side. All right. If you have an old truck and you have misfiring problems and you're trying to diagnose something bad, my bet was to replace this harness. That they're known to, get hard and corroded. I think it's like $200. You replace it. It's not that hard to do when you're doing, well, it's not hard to do at all when you're doing this type of job. And the injectors over here, you see these little clips? You just push them up like this. This little red thing is down. You push it up like where it is now, and that's how you grab that little thing right there. All right, and just move it out to the side. You can maybe disconnect it from here, because we're gonna ultimately take the intake manifold off, and we don't want nothing in the way. And see what I did? I just pulled it over to one side. I didn't disconnect it from down here yet. It's not in the way. And you just, move it to the side. And again, you can check it. Make sure everything looks good. A lot of times, what I find is the wires get hard and corroded and so bad that they cause a bad connection. You wiggle it one way and it's okay, and it's and it can just drive you crazy. If your vehicle is really old, I would replace it. But if you don't want to, that's up to you. I'm just giving you the option. All right, so now what you want to do is get some compressed air. Make sure you put some rags on the top here. You don't want no dust to go in there. And blow out any kind of dust, because now we're going to take off the bolts, and basically the intake manifold is going to come off. All right, and then we're going to take out the 10 bolts. Right here is 1. Over here 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other side. Most of 10. This one I think is this one is a 12. Right here. So whichever side they are, just take them all out. Make sure you don't lose them. And then we're going to lift the manifold off. And the whole thing just slides out. And the good thing about this is that the gasket itself is held in place with 2 bolts. One here and one in the back. All right. So it doesn't move when you slide the V intake manifold in there. Everything lines up. Nothing's, is moving. And here it is right here. All right, what you do is you clean it up. You want to, replace the injectors, whatever you would, the reason why you would take it apart. That's what you do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off, the 2 bolts. I'm going to check, make sure nothing else was wrong. Now, at this point, the valve covers are right here. They're so easy to do. If yours are not leaking or they're old, for $20, I would replace them. That's what I'm going to do on this truck. Just to recap, this is my personal truck. There was nothing wrong with it. I just took it apart because a lot of people asked me to do videos on the intake manifold, so I did it. All right, this car just passed inspection too, about a week ago, but that's besides the point. Now it's now we're at this point, and I'm going, like I said, I'm going to take off the intake manifold gasket, clean up all the surfaces. Another good idea is while you have the intake out, check the injectors. Check the injectors, make sure they're clean on the bottom, clean them if you want, and also check the resistance of each one. Because you may have one that's failing bad, and this is the best time to take care of that problem. They're supposed to be between 11.5 and 12 ohms. All right, I'm going to show you what that looks like on an ohm meter. All right. Let me just, all right, you just one side on one and one side on the other. And you see it's like hovering around almost 12 ohms. Make sure it's ohms and not millionths of an ohm. See, it's 11.587. That's a good injector. You check them all. I'm going to show you what a bad one looks like. All right, now I have the two terminals on there. And this one is showing 37.12 ohms. No good. And what that would mean is that this is probably going to misfire in the cylinder. There's too much resistance. It's not gonna spray on time, not spray long enough, and that's not good at all. They all have to be within 0.5 ohms of each other. All right, so that's just another thing. And also, if you're doing the spark plugs, let me go back to the truck. You're doing the spark plugs. Now is the greatest time to do it because they're easy to get to. When all the stuff is on, you know those back plugs are almost a nightmare to get to. But now it's nice and easy. You run your brand new wires, your brand new spark plugs. If you want, this is all, I'm giving you guys ideas. I'm not making you guys want to spend money, but again, you're putting old plugs, old spark plug wires, you're doing this whole job, and then you get a misfire 6 months, you're going to wish you did it now. You know what I'm trying to say? Now, when you're taking off the intake manifold gasket, there's going to be these little metal supports that are on each end, this one and that one. When you take this off, you be careful that you take these off first, because you don't want this to drop into the engine. That's going to be an extreme bad day. All right? Because when you take this out of the way and you slide it, that back one right there can fall right in the engine. Because once you take this off, it's all exposed in here. You see? It's all exposed and it can drop down into the engine, and that's bad. All right, so what you can do right now, you have to clean this all up, all this, put a rag in the area. You clean it up, maybe get a little vacuum cleaner, it can vacuum, if anything, will blow the air from any of the ports. And you got to clean up the whole intake manifold surface over there on both heads. And over here too, this stuff. And see over here, a little metal. No wait, is that a? No, that's not a metal. That's the block. You scrape all of this off, and when we put the new gasket on, we're gonna put a bead of silicone. You see this corner where they meet right here and right here? It's like an obtuse angle. On both sides, you put a bead of silicone, a gasket maker here, a gasket maker here, and the same thing with those two corners. All right, like so. And then you use a scraper, a nice straight, clean razor blade, and you scrape the whole area, paying attention over here on these corners. Make sure this is all clean, all the way down on both sides. All right, and you can get like a little vacuum shop vac and suck all the little bit of fragments out. And then, clean the surface again with some maybe brake cleaner with a rag, and make sure it's all clean. Okay, and then when we put the gasket, like I said, in these corners right here, in this corner and in that corner, all four corners are going to put a little bead of silicone gasket maker. All right. Okay, and now I'm going to use the Permatex Ultra Black. It's a good product. Put it on the four corners, like that, and in the back. And now we're just going to slide on the intake manifold gasket. See, because this is a thick piece of metal, so this puts evenly pressure, and you don't take off the rubber thing on the bottom either. All right, so I'm going to do that right now. Okay, and those two bolts, you're going to tighten them down 110 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. You're going to use a torque wrench, okay? 110 inch-pounds. All right, so now, after that, you just slide the intake manifold in. Make sure it doesn't bind on anything. No wires are in the way in the back, especially. All right, and then you're going to torque them down. Now, here's the sequence. All right, I made a schematic. This is the lower one, okay? And there's 8 bolts. Okay, you got 1 it does like a crisscross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, now it's going to be 200 inch-pounds. That's approximately 17 foot-pounds, but a foot-pounds is not as accurate, so they want you to use inch-pounds. But if you're gonna use a foot-pound torque wrench, just set it at 20. 20 to be on the safe side. A couple more pounds not going to really hurt anything. All right, and you do that sequence, and then the upper one, we didn't put it on yet, the plastic plenum. You can stop this video here. I'll put it right here so you could see everything. So you can pause it. Okay, and the upper is 105 inch-pounds, basically just like those 2 bolts on the intake manifold gasket. And this sequence is like this: 1, 2, the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cross pattern like that. And then the plenum is going to be done with the intake. I'm going to do the plenum now. Just slide it in. Oh, before you do that, you got the electrical harness connector. You got to put it all back and make sure it plugs into the big plug against the firewall. And try not to bend it ways that it didn't go. When you fold it over, you're going to see, where it went to each injector. And you just, you don't want to keep bending and bending because you could break a wire, especially if you're not replacing it. And then after you do that, I'm going to do the plenum, and then I'm going to come back. All right, I put the harness back where it belongs. And don't forget, replace the O-rings on the plenum. All right, don't reuse the old ones. You can get a vacuum leak. Okay, so after we put the intake plenum on, you put the PCV valve hose, okay? The EGR valve, make sure you replace the gasket. Under there, put the vacuum hose on over here. All right, the throttle body, you put the throttle body on, torque those bolts 110 inch-pounds. Okay, what else did we do? Put the top radiator hose on. Make sure you put the electrical connector here. The fuel line, all you do is just push it back in and make sure you put the safety clip on. Okay? Same way you took it off. On this side, the map sensor plug, you plug that in. Okay, and now I'm going to put the bracket on for the ignition coils and put the ignition coil back on. And whatever you took off, you put on. If you have the bracket over here, you just reverse the removal procedure, and we'll come right back. All right, I put the coil back on. Make sure you plug in the coil pack wiring, and make sure you don't mess up your firing order. Put the bracket on, the ground strap. If you took off the alternator, lug, make sure that's tight. And basically that's it. You fill it up, make sure you fill it up with the proper amount of oil and coolant before you start it. And that's pretty much it. Whatever little bits and pieces I may have missed, self-explanatory. And that's basically it. You save yourself a lot of money. They charge a lot of money to do this. And you do it yourself, you save a lot of money. That's what I'm all about. All right, guys, MotorCarNut, please subscribe, hit that like button. Any questions pertaining to the video, leave them below. I answer all my questions. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.